Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Predict in advance. Judge to be probable. A prediction about how something, as the weather, will develop. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Predict in advance. Have faith or confidence in. Specifically design a product, event, or activity for a certain public. Judge to be probable. Keep an account of. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. Judge to be probable. Judge to be probable. An approximate calculation of quantity or degree or worth. An estimate of what it would cost. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. I estimate this chicken to weigh 3 pounds. A judgment of the qualities of something or somebody. Many factors are involved in any estimate of human life. The respect with which a person is held. A document appraising the value of something, as for insurance or taxation. A statement indicating the likely cost of some job. He got an estimate from the car repair shop. One of the elements that collectively form a system of numeration. Judge to be probable. Be or play a part of or in. Elections figure prominently in every government program. A diagram or picture illustrating textual material. A decorative or artistic work. The property possessed by a sum or total or indefinite quantity of units or individuals. The figure was about 1,000. A well-known or notable person. She is an important figure in modern music. Alternative names for the body of a human being. Imagine. Conceive of. See in one's mind. Language used in a figurative or non-literal sense. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. A combination of points and lines and planes that form a visible palpable shape. A model of a bodily form, especially of a person. He made a figure of Santa Claus. An amount of money expressed numerically. A figure of $17 was suggested. A predetermined set of movements in dancing or skating. She made the best score on compulsory figures. A unitary percept having structure and coherence that is the object of attention and that stands out against a ground. The impression produced by a person. He cut a fine figure. Understand. He didn't figure her. Have faith or confidence in. Judge to be probable. Take account of. You have to reckon with our opponents. Expect, believe, or suppose. Deem to be. Make a mathematical calculation or computation. A prediction of the course of a disease. A prediction about how something, as the weather, will develop. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Ancient Rome, a religious official who interpreted omens to guide public policy. Predict from an omen. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Commence in a manner calculated to bring good luck. They auspicated the trip with a bottle of champagne. Be a signal for or a symptom of. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. These signs bode bad news. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Foreshadow or presage. A sign of something about to happen. He looked for an omen before going into battle. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Imagine or consider beforehand. It wasn't as bad as I had prefigured. A sign of something about to happen. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. A foreboding about what is about to happen. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Grounds for feeling hopeful about the future. There is little or no promise that he will recover. Make a promise or commitment. A verbal commitment by one person to another agreeing to do, or not to do, something in the future. Give grounds for expectations. The results promised fame and glory. Promise to undertake or give. I promise you my best effort. Regard something as probable or likely. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Be excited or anxious about. Act in advance of. Deal with ahead of time. Realize beforehand. Be a forerunner of or occur earlier than. This composition anticipates Impressionism. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Assign a specified, usually proper name to. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Order, request, or command to come. She was called into the director's office. Utter a sudden loud cry. Pay a brief visit. The mayor likes to call on some of the prominent citizens. The option to buy a given stock, or stock index or commodity future, at a given price before a given date. A demand by a broker that a customer deposit enough to bring his margin up to the minimum requirement. A demand especially in the phrase. The call of duty. A telephone connection. She reported several anonymous calls. A loud utterance, often in protest or opposition. Greet, as with a prescribed form, title, or name. She calls him by first name. Demand payment of a loan. Give the calls to the dancers for a square dance. Get or try to get into communication with someone by telephone. I tried to call you all night. The characteristic sound produced by a bird. Make a demand, as for a card or a suit or a show of hands. He called his trump. A brief social visit. Senior professors' wives no longer make afternoon calls on newcomers. A demand for a show of hands in a card game. After 2 raises there was a call. An instruction that interrupts the program being executed. Pascal performs calls by simply giving the name of the routine to be executed. A request. Many calls for Christmas stories. Ascribe a quality to or give a name of a common noun that reflects a quality. He called me a bastard. A special disposition, as if from a divine source, to pursue a particular course. A visit in an official or professional capacity. The pastor's calls on his parishioners. Call a meeting. Invite or command to meet. The Onesie conference was called to discuss the final solution. Challenge. Somebody, to make good on a statement. Charge with or censure for an offense. He deserves to be called on that. Challenge the sincerity or truthfulness of. Call the speaker on a question of fact. Consider or regard as being. I would not call her beautiful. Declare in the capacity of an umpire or referee. Call a runner out. Indicate a decision in regard to. Call balls and strikes behind the plate. Lure by imitating the characteristic call of an animal. Make a stop in a harbor. The ship will call in Honolulu tomorrow. Order or request or give a command for. The unions called a general strike for Sunday. Order, summon, or request for a specific duty or activity, work, role. He was already called 4 times for jury duty. Read aloud to check for omissions or absentees. Require the presentation of for redemption before maturation. Rouse somebody from sleep with a call. I was called at 5 a.m. this morning. Send a message or attempt to reach someone by radio, phone, etc. Make a signal in order to transmit a message. Hawaii is calling. Sports. The decision made by an umpire or referee. He was ejected for protesting the call. Stop or postpone because of adverse conditions, such as bad weather. Call a football game. Utter a characteristic note or cry. Blue Jays called to one another. Utter in a loud voice or announce. He called my name. Form a critical opinion of. We shouldn't pass judgment on other people. Form a critical opinion of. How do you evaluate this grant proposal? Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. Pronounce judgment on. Form a critical opinion of. I cannot judge some works of modern art. An authority who is able to estimate worth or quality. Put on trial or hear a case and sit as the judge at the trial of. The judge tried both father and son in separate trials. A public official authorized to decide questions brought before a court of justice. Determine the result of a competition. The act of predicting, as by reasoning about the future. A statement made about the future. A statement made about the future. The art or gift of prophecy, or the pretense of prophecy, by supernatural means. A statement made about the future. Knowledge of the future, usually said to be obtained from a divine source. A sign of something about to happen. A statement made about the future. Be oriented. The weather vane points north. Sail close to the wind. Repair the joints of bricks. Point a chimney. Any of 32 horizontal directions indicated on the card of a compass. He checked the point on his compass. Be a signal for or a symptom of. Her behavior points to a severe neurosis. A specific identifiable position in a continuum or series or especially in a process. A distinct part that can be specified separately in a group of things that could be enumerated on a list. The main point on the agenda was taken up first. An outstanding characteristic. His acting was one of the high points of the movie. A V shape. The cannibal's teeth were filed to sharp points. A contact in the distributor. As the rotor turns, its projecting arm contacts them and current flows to the spark plugs. The dot at the left of a decimal fraction. Direct into a position for use. Point a gun. Indicate a place, direction, person, or thing, either spatially or figuratively. He pointed to the empty parking space. The property of a shape that tapers to a sharp tip. The gun muzzle's direction. He held me up at the point of a gun. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. The point of the arrow was due north. An isolated fact that is considered separately from the whole. A point of information. A wall socket. An instant of time. At that point I had to leave. A very small circular shape. A row of points. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. Give a point to. Intend something, to move towards a certain goal. A punctuation mark, placed at the end of a declarative sentence to indicate a full stop or after abbreviations. A brief version of the essential meaning of something. Get to the point. A distinguishing or individuating characteristic. He knows my bad points as well as my good points. A geometric element that has position but no extension. A point is defined by its coordinates. A linear unit used to measure the size of type, approximately 1/72 inch. A promontory extending out into a large body of water. They sailed south around the point. A style in speech or writing that arrests attention and has a penetrating or convincing quality or effect. Be positionable in a specified manner. The gun points with ease. Indicate the presence of game by standing and pointing with the muzzle. The dog pointed the dead duck. Mark, a psalm text, to indicate the points at which the music changes. Mark, Hebrew words, with diacritics. Mark with diacritics. Point the letter. 1% of the total principal of a loan. It is paid at the time the loan is made and is independent of the interest on the loan. Sharp end. He stuck the point of the knife into a tree. The object of an activity. What is the point of discussing it? The precise location of something, a spatially limited location. She walked to a point where she could survey the whole street. The unit of counting in scoring a game or contest. He scored 20 points in the first half.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.